Guys, I have a surprise today. This is Mr. Steve Wilson, aka, he have many things, but he is the manager for Sean Paul. That's one of the things that Steve is actually famous for. He's somebody I've known since 2002, Steve.
Yeah. And it's so seldom that you kind of get that kind of creative freedom in Jamaica, because most of the time in Jamaica is very much like, well, make sure you don't offend anybody, and I don't want you to do this and I don't want you to do that, and you can't come off the stage and you can't do this and you can't do that, and all these kind of can'ts. We're our country up when it comes culturally. A lot of the time we're can'ts, right? A lot of the things that Jamaicans do for the first time, we do it abroad.
Right.
Even Bob Marley, did things abroad, and then it wasn't accepted here until much later on. I mean, even can touch on the fact that this whole debate going on about Rastafarian and locks.
Literally, we have the coverage. So the coverage there, sister.
I just literally said, right?
Yeah, that's why I have to bring it up, and that's why we have to talk about how impactful our culture is, because...
Yeah, but this is the thing, right? It's important for us to push the envelope in Jamaica so that Jamaicans get used to the envelope being pushed, right? We have this comfort zone, I shouldn't say technocracy. It's the churches pushing this agenda of post-colonial, what's accepted, right? So It's interesting that it's a dichotomy of this, right? Our culture goes into the world and conquers the world, and we do all these amazing things, and everybody's so impressed and impacted and just blown away by what we do. Bob Marley is artist of the century, and album of the millennium, and all these things, right? But yet still in Jamaica, tell me where tonight I can go and see a reggae band. Nowhere. Tell me why. I don't understand why, right? We don't invest in our own culture. We don't respect our own culture. We don't prop it up. We don't pick it up. We want to feel like we live in foreign. We want to go to foreign. We want to spend our money in foreign. All these things I just have a massive problem with. And it is something that I complain about constantly. And when you go places like somewhere like Cuba, where people say, oh, culture has been crushed in Cuba, and you go to Cuba, and every single night you can watch 4, 5, 6 different professional bands performing Cuban music, and it's sponsored by the government, right? And I'm not saying that it should be completely sponsored by the government. I think that the private should also have to support it. But I think the government should make a mandate that says, hey, a certain amount of money goes to this every year, and it goes to live music. So we're going to pick 5 venues that are going to be official live music venues, and those places must have live music at least twice a week.
I like that idea. We have to recommend that one.
And it's supported, right? And then if we even have to look at making money off of entertainment, right? Like rum or cigarettes, people like that who can't really advertise, right, on most normal media should be taxed. There should be an entertainment tax that they have to pay to give back to live music. All I was going to do is put more money in their pocket anyway, right?
So why not? Literally just explain, here's an idea, and here's how you pay for it, which most people have ideas, but they don't have a way to pay for it.
I've been around it long enough to know that the reality is, if somebody don't pay for it, it don't happen.
It don't happen. So that is saying, I love this guest. It's smart and realistic. But no, Steve, so you're touching on exactly a topic you and I have discussed privately, you discuss all the time. I am convinced that Jamaica's #1 export should be our culture.
Well, Jamaica's #1 export is our culture, but we don't make the money off of it, right? Because that's our #2 complaint now, that we don't have a record company that exists in Jamaica, right? A major record company. All the distributors, even the distributors who operate here, are not Jamaican. Even VP is based in New York. So that means the money that VP makes off of all this Jamaican music, does it come to Jamaica? How much of it comes to Jamaica? Does any of it? I don't know. Right? I can't say for sure, but I don't think so. And if most artists want to get signed, they want to get signed by a foreign label, because that's where they're going to invest money in them. They're going to shoot good videos. Now we have good videographers, we have amazing video producers, we have great photographers, we have great recording technicians, we have engineers, we have musicians, we have all the machinery except for the platform to bring it to the world. Until 2 months ago, until 2 months ago, we didn't have Apple Music in Jamaica. We still don't have Spotify.
Still don't have Spotify.
We can't even digest our own music in a way that's meaningful and will put money in artists' pockets. I always compare us to reggaeton and say, here's a music that comes from our music. But yet still, here's the difference. Latin people support reggaeton. When a reggaeton artist put out a song, the Latin people make
Buy
that
it.
person a millionaire. They don't
Buy
need one person listening in English.
Man, and I love that you talk about reggaeton, because I was going to bring that up. Because of our experience with you and Sean and everybody, we got to work on Mundus's show, The Roof. Every Friday night was their Reggae Fridays in Miami. And so we got to go there, and we get to see Tego Calderon, Evie Queen, and we got to watch these people explode on our music. We even got to show them all the latest dances and help bring a DJ like DJ GQ or artists to be on there. But how do we ensure that we now have that platform, we have that label? We're obviously doing things virtually, so we don't have to have a production studio based in Miami to get stuff. We could be doing live shows based in Jamaica that going out to the world via Facebook or YouTube. Some fest just use Facebook to do their show. Look at Versus on what they're doing. What is needed for us to execute that in Jamaica?
What is needed is for us to invest in it and for us to show the support for it, right? So to me, right, whereas 3 million people in Jamaica, everybody have a phone or two. Some of them have 2 phones, right? You tell me why is it we can't get 1 million Jamaicans watching something produced in Jamaica, made in Jamaica for Jamaicans? Why? I don't know why. We live in a gold mine, yet still we mine none of the gold. Well, we let people come here and mine it, and the people who here are mining it have to sell it.
So Steve, you remind me of the resource curse when I think of somewhere like Nigeria that has oil, because they have so much oil or diamonds in other countries, right? Somebody else came in there and made the actual money from it, because when you have a lot of something, you don't value it.
Partially true. Nigeria does make millions and billions of dollars off of their own oil. It doesn't trickle down to the lower classes. That's a big problem. But there are a lot of Nigerians who are billionaires off of Nigerian oil. They're not. There's not very many Jamaicans who are billionaires off of Jamaican music.
So how do we change that? Besides your government suggestion and the live events, those are 2. Do we need to actually have a local label that has capital invested in it, working with the artists, working on the live production?
It would be great, but it's going to require some kind of grant money, because I don't even know if the Jamaican government has enough money to do something like that. But it would be beautiful. I do a lot of work with Alpha Boys School, Alpha Boys Radio, right? Music March for Music Entertainment, which is a charity that I give money to, which is really to push music in schools. That's my first thing, right? We don't respect music because we don't learn real music. We're learning recorder and sheet music, and those things can't get nobody a job ever, right? And those things don't make people, even people like me, I thought I wasn't interested in music because that was my music education, right?
Wow.
Music education should teach you about Bob Marley and teach you about record labels and teach you about choreography and teach you about engineering and teach you about how many jobs there are in the music business that are created by the music business, right? And then push you into modules. And then there should be several schools and school programs that allow you to then immediately go into that kind of a program. The kids who go to Alpha are people who have been kicked out of other schools, refused by other schools, right? And it is unfortunate that a kid can feel useless and pointless and like he doesn't have a place in the world until he happens to bungle up and bounce into Alpha and then goes, oh, this is my calling all along.
All along, man.
But
so we
I
need
don't know where Bob Marley is from. Why wasn't that recognized from when I was 5 years old? Look, anything you want to mine in any country in the world, right? What do? You get the equipment to mine it. You get the people. You get the people to train you. We can draw for foreigners. I don't mind. Let's get foreigners here to say, hey, we need you to come give us some time, and we need you to give us some resources, and we need you to help us build this school, and build a studio. We have studios. I have lots of studios, so that's not a problem. But to build a platform to get our music to the world, right? I don't know if you noticed. Sirius XM just is in the process of changing the joint radio station, which was the reggae radio station, to Bob Marley Radio, right?
Wow.
Which I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but if I am, I'm sorry. But the reality is that we should have our own in Jamaica based online reggae radio stations, right? And channels and playlists on Spotify and YouTube and everywhere. Like there's just, and it's not that we don't have the brains. We have the brains. People like you who know about these things and know how to do these things. Government should be hiring you and saying, David, help us figure this out. How do we mine this goal that we have? Right? I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to give my time. I'm willing to give my time and what I know and what I think, and them can mine me right?
Yeah,
So,
well.
I feel like that's the one thing. But then and I think that also there has to be a re-education of the people and the way how we digest music. Here's an interesting thing to me, right? Here's my top. Every time I meet Jamaicans anywhere else in the world, those Jamaicans are the biggest fans of everything out of Jamaica, right? They are the consumers of Jamaican things. The diaspora keeps this country alive, right? Culturally and economically, right?
True.
Now, I had a friend from a guy who we did some shows in Europe, deep Europe, right? Eastern Europe. And he was so excited about coming to Jamaica for a week. And we had done a couple of shows with him, and I said, what's the one thing you want to do while you're here? And he said, I need to go to Yush. So I was like, oh, wicked. All right. I was going anyway, so I'll carry you. So I carried him to Yush. But I went to pick him up at his hotel, and I said, how was your trip? How's it been so far? How was everything, landing and everything? And he said, oh, it was wonderful. But he was confused when he landed because he didn't know where he was. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I thought I was landing in Kingston, Jamaica. And I said, yeah, you are. And he said, but that's where Bob Marley was born, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, but I didn't see the Bob Marley statue when I landed. He said, I thought it would be out on the end of the end of the airport, the harbor, like this big, massive statue that everybody could see from the moon. Like he was like any other country in the world that Bob Marley came from, there would be the whole Palisade Strip would be lined with statues of Dennis Brown and Jimmy Cliff and Bob Marley and Roy and and everybody would be lining that highway coming in. And he said, why don't you celebrate your culture here?
So I lived in Berlin 2 years ago for 3 months, and I never forgot when I got there. I made sure to wear my Jamaica jersey. And anywhere I would go, people would immediately ask me, are you from Jamaica? And I'd say yes. And they would ask me about Bob Marley, Usain Bolt, Jamaican Ganja, Sean Paul. I mean, it was fascinating to me how differently I was treated in Berlin, everywhere we go. I remember Protege was performing live there and posters everywhere, and all these Germans asking me, so you going to the Protege concert at the club? I was like, yeah, I intend to go, but I never got that experience in so many other places. And I mean, you know me, I have 1 foot in Jamaica, 1 foot in the US. So I'm not one of those who run with left. I was in Jamaica every month for the last 18 months until COVID happened. So, but it's fascinating to me to see people who literally run with left. As soon as Olympics come around or Sean Paul get nominated for a Grammy or any of these things, yeah man, it's our people and it's our people.
Exactly.
So
I've heard people say things like, boy, they will go to in Vegas or Miami or wherever, right, and spend a whole bunch of money on a night out. But in Jamaica, I'm not spending that kind of money, right? Why?